Alrighty, thanks y'all for tuning in. I'm so excited for this one. We've been scheming this for what, like a month, pretty much,
Yeah,
right? Since South.
yeah.
Um,
hmm
and we've never done. We do so many like photographer music workshops. So this is the first time we've done something with like film. So I'm very excited for that. As always, of course, this workshop is recorded, shared at the end for anyone that has additional questions. I'll make sure to put like probably both of our contact or at least like your website info in the bio so anyone can reach out with any additional questions. But yeah, I think I'll just let you take it away.
Cool. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked. So pretty much today I'm talking about something I'm very passionate about, filmmaking. Whether it's your first film or your second or third, it can always feel a little bit nerve-wracking. So today I'm going to walk you through how I've used other skills and interests that I have, like design and photography, to raise funds and momentum for my short films. And then hopefully by the end, you'll feel empowered to do the same and use whatever skills you already have or leave with even one more idea of like how you can make your projects come to life. So next slide. My name is Camila. I am a filmmaker and a multimedia artist. I love everything visual. I studied screenwriting and directing, and then all the other things that I do are self-taught. And those extra skills have become a really big tool for me to make my projects, not just like during production or post, but pre. Especially my most recent one called Eat That Up, It's Good for You. Um, I funded by finding a lot of different little ways to use the other skills I have. And the next slide. So let's start off by talking about first films. Like I said, even if it's not your first, it can always be obviously very exciting, but it can feel very intimidating. You can feel like you're not ready. You might not have all the resources, and you might feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. I know I always do. And you can get stuck on feeling like it needs to be perfect. And before I get into everything I'm going to say, I just want to iterate like your first film it's okay if it's messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. And every film that you make is a teaching opportunity. And even when you're making big budget films, there's always going to be something for you to learn, and nothing will always come out the way you expect, and that's okay. Yeah. Next. But of course, a huge stressor for us is money. It always feels impossible to get a project off the ground without some of it. And no matter what level we're at, any sum of money can feel hard to put together or to ask for, especially for something creative. So let's get into it. First, I want to tell you why I think these other methods are extremely helpful and valuable, not just for this film, but just in your career in general. One, we all know about crowdfunding sites, and no way am I discrediting those. Those are incredible tools, and I have many friends who have fully funded their films using them. But they can be a gamble, and they can be a huge emotional toll, on top of like the stress you're already feeling about making your film. So these other methods can be a wonderful supplement to along with using the crowdfunding site. And number two, when you use your own skills to raise money or trade services, it becomes a creative exchange. You're saying, I'll make something for you, and with that, you're helping me make my film. And that's very empowering, and it keeps you moving forward and keeps your work visible. And it's a funding process into something that feels creative. It turns the funding process into something creative as well, instead of just purely transactional. And it allows people to know other sides of you. Maybe somebody didn't know you were a photographer or a designer or, an event organizer. And finally, besides the monetary aspect of all of it, offering your creative services to other creatives is going to help you build community, which is very, very important and can affect the rest of your career. A lot of the people that I work with are people that I trade services with, and those are lifetime partners. So it's really huge. So let's get into some examples. Um, graphic design, we're starting off with. It's one of my absolute loves. It's so fun. I think that there's a lot of tools to make it very accessible today, even if you don't have Photoshop. Just please don't use AI. Canva is an awesome tool. Just like Sophie and I were speaking of earlier, it makes it really easy for you to make really cool, pretty graphics. So one example, early in 2023, around Valentine's Day, I offered $5 e-cards to people where they would tell me like their favorite song lyric, and I would make a little like cute little graphic, and they could send it off to a loved one, a girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, and people really loved that. And I made a few $100s with that, and it was like a low effort thing that people really loved. Some people printed it, some people just sent it through text, but it was just a really fun little thing to do. And the stickers that are on the right, I actually made for the LA Fire Relief Fund earlier this year. But it's absolutely a tool that you could use for a film as well. The stickers could be related to your film. They could be completely unrelated. But you can use services like Uprinting or Sticker Mule, which will give you like a good bundle price. And you can just pick up a bunch and you can either sell them online through social media. If you have just some meetup, you can sell them there, and people love stickers, so why not? And things not pictured there is like merch revolving your film, hats, posters. They can be special pieces that feel exclusive to anyone who supports the film this way. You could create a digital zine, which is really fun, or like create a logo. Just there's so much you can do there. Then next into photography. Um, no, it was 2 years ago. My friends and I hosted a really fun 2-day mini portrait session in LA. It was actually my friend Maddie's idea. She had done this for a previous project and it was very fruitful for her. So right there, two friends, Paula, who's here, offered their talents and their time for 2 days, and we shot a lot of different people for 20-minute sessions. We had couples, we had people who wanted headshots, we had people who wanted just something for like their website. We offered film and digital, some Super 8 footage that Maddie shot. And you can, we rented a location for that, but you could totally do it without even having to invest for a location. You could do it at a park, at the beach, just use some sunlight. People always love photos. And then one other thing I did was offer some prints of some other film photos that I had. I got invited to an art show to do that, which was cool. But again, use your socials, use your website, like reach out to your friends and tell them that you're doing this. They will get to keep a beautiful print of yours, and they're also going to support your film. And next, another huge thing, which is trading services with other creatives. And this doesn't involve money. This is about building community and volunteering your time for others as well. So this can look like, if you have an actor friend who you want to be in your film, you can be like, hey, if I shoot some new headshots for you, will you please act in my film? Next is if you have any musician friends, you can offer to make some visuals for them and turn in for them making music for your project. Or maybe they're savvy in recording or mixing and they can help you in post. And then finally, some things that are not completely creative, but they're still important for us on set. And I think it's important for us to be knowledgeable in other aspects of being on set. So something like, hey, I actually know how to AD. If I AD on your set, can you gaff for me next time? Find out what other skills your collaborators have and see how like you can help each other that way as well. And if by any chance you're like, hey, I don't know how to do any of this, I just not creative in any of those other sort of ways, that's totally okay. It doesn't have to be a creative skill. You can host a small fundraiser party. It can be based off your film. You can make like cute little snacks or crafts that are related to the film in some sort of way. You can bake cookies and sell them. You can create like you can declutter your closet and sell some clothes. Event organizing is another great way to go about it. And even at your day job, you can think, how can I use the space and these connections to help me grow and make my film in some sort of way. Um, and I know at the beginning of your day, the beginning, like when you're first starting out, maybe you have a job that is completely unrelated to film and you think like, how can this help me at all? But I worked at ice cream shops for many years. I worked at coffee shops. Especially if you're big cities, you're probably working with other creatives as well. So do take the time to meet your coworkers and ask them what they do. Like you might find something in common and you can help each other. And then you'll have a relationship for the rest of your life. Yeah. So, some takeaways I hope you are left with today. The things that you see as side gigs or hobbies are actually superpowers. And whatever you choose to offer, design, cookies, pet portraits, always tell people it is in support of your film. It makes them feel like they're a part of something bigger. And anytime they think of like that one thing you did for them, they're like, oh yeah. And like that helped them make their film. And like, look where it's at right now and look at where they are right now, which is really special. And finally, you can do this after we hop off, but make a skills menu, write down 3 things that you love to do and brainstorm how those could help fund or trade your way into your next project. Yeah. So that's everything for me. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that you are left with something new and exciting for your project. Yeah.
This was awesome. Yay. Thank you so much. I have like
Thank
some initial questions and I'm looking through
you.
some people that registered and put some questions in. But my first question, just because I totally agree with you, like that's how we create community, right? Is exchanging services, like
Mhm.
low-key bring back bartering, you know?
Yes, totally.
But I would love to hear like how you approach that, and it needs to be genuine, right? And it needs to be an
Mhm.
authentic thing because you're not just gonna slide into someone's DMs that you don't know and ask them to do like it's not free labor, but something like that. So I'm curious, like, how do you approach that to make sure that it
Mhm.
is coming off like a genuine thing and like it is
Genuine.
of value and not just like I'm trying to take advantage
Mhm.
of someone's services, essentially.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think the main thing I would say is to not like spring it out of nowhere like that. I think obviously hone in those relationships first, like build them, and then over time, like once you maybe find mutual respect in each other, then it becomes like a better moment to be like, hey, I know that you do this. Like, would you be interested in trading services this way? And always give them an out. Be like, hey, if that's not how you work, totally understand. But always worth asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally fair.
Mhm.
Looks like we have one about how to propose your pitch deck to potential donors. So I guess just how would you translate some of what you covered to, yeah, if you're like individually reaching out to donors?
Yeah. I mean, definitely expressing the love and passion that you have for your project and um selling them on why it needs to be made and why it needs to be made by you and the hopefully the team that you have behind you. And yeah, just I the most important thing to me has always been the why on my projects. And like usually on my projects they're surrounding mental health. And I think, things like that really get people to feel excited and to find a purpose within a project, especially short films that aren't always don't give back money. They can give back in different ways.
Totally. Well
Yeah.
done. Sorry if I butcher your name, Mirka. I see you're on the call, but I also see you submitted a question. So let me know if you would rather come off mute, not to put you on the spot. Otherwise, I can read your question that you submitted, and then we can go to you, Paula. Um, Mirka, I feel like I'm butchering.
Hi. So yeah,
that. Sorry.
could you read my questions? I don't have them written
All
down.
good, all good. So we have one that says from you, how do you apply to film festival and how festival film festivals and how much of your budget should go towards that, slash how do you divide your budget,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Okay. Film festivals, I use Film Freeway always. It's just a really great tool. They give you all the information and the requirements. And in terms of budgeting out for it, I do leave a small percentage. I'm for me, it's always most important for me to get the film made. And like the other thing you can do is run another sort of crowdfunding after you've made your film to then like resource for anything post, and that will include film festivals. And you can use any of those other things that we've spoken about earlier to help you with that. But yeah, Film Freeway is a great tool, and just social media and like following a lot of other accounts that are related to independent filmmakers, or anything like very niche and related to you, whether you're BIPOC or Latina, wherever you're from, like finding those small communities, they will also give you great resources of other ways to find film festivals or just other ways to find funding.
Totally.
Mhm.
Paula, you want to come off mute and ask away?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hey, thank you for that. That was such a beautiful presentation. I wanted to just hear a little bit more about you and what projects you've made, and if you have anything coming up, or how can we kind of keep track of what you're up to?
Oh, thank you. Well, my last film is Eat That Up, It's Good for You, which you know about. You're the lovely DP on. That one is screening one more time in LA in May at a smaller kind of like film festival put on by a friend. And I am hopefully going to make a film later on this year, and that project is a little more in the vibe of like the substance, and talks about like the the kind of bartering you have to do when you are a creative, and giving your time to your loved ones and giving your time to your job, and how it's like a thin line, and you can kind of find yourself lonely after putting so much time into your work. So yeah, we'll see. I'm probably gonna find myself doing a lot of these things I just mentioned this year.
That's awesome. We got
Thank
one more
you.
question that was submitted virtually prior, and it was, do you have any experience with reaching out to brands for like food supplies? If so, what brands have you worked with?
You know, I haven't worked with any brands, but Paula, I think you had worked with a brand, right? If you want to speak on that.
Hi, yeah.
Mhm.
So I actually did for my last short film. I just reached out to brands. I kind of just emailed a bunch. I was looking for wardrobe specifically for a period piece. So I
Mhm.
just looked up brands that kind of had that specific kind of wardrobe that they offered as a nightgown. And I just sent them a bunch of emails, and eventually one of them actually donated a $300 worth nightgown for the film.
Yeah.
They were just excited to support it. So definitely,
Mhm.
I think, tapping into, just reaching out to people. You never know if people are going to say yes. So, yeah.
So, so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good answer. And I was going to say, actually, when we've run as Luna the Digital Film Festival, which that's how we got connected to begin with, it's such a shot in the dark, right? Like you could email a million brands, but all you need sometimes is a handful. And that's how we collaborated with Peer Space for our
Yeah.
most recent one. Was just I like starting with brands that you think are like relevant, or like maybe one separation relevant, right? So if you're in filmmaking, it's not just like supplies, maybe it's also software and equipment rentals and location,
Mhm.
like thinking outside that initial box of like who could I work with? Or yeah, like costumes, food, drink, like
Mhm.
hospitality as well. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
good. Cool. Anyone have any other questions? I feel like both of y'all had great questions. I'm just
Yeah.
double checking any one that got submitted ahead of time. I think that's everything.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much for your time. I'm going to stop recording so that we